Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally, and today I'm working on some Christmas DIYs for my own home. My daughter likes a very simple Christmas, and since she's with us with her family this year, I decided to go ahead and dry some oranges. That's one of the things she likes, and I found this little dollar store thing that I had in my stash. I think you can still get them. And I took an old book that was falling apart and I just tore out one of the pages from that book. And this was 25 cents at a yard sale, I think. And it was already, the binding was already broken and it was already a mess of a book, so it wasn't anything spectacular. But I do love the way that it has these antique looking pages. So I decided that I was just kind of laying out some things. I printed on rice paper just a picture of the greens and pine cones and dried orange slices from traditional Christmases of years gone by. That's how it was when my kids were growing up, and she really likes that. So I decided this year to try to reproduce that a little bit, put away some of the fancy ornaments and such, and kind of went back to the basics. And I took out a little bit of that Dollar Tree lace ribbon and just started to play with it, and then decided that I wanted to change the color of the frame. It was just a little bit too light for me. Edges of the frame were darker already, so I just went ahead with that antique wax and water mixture and just brushed that on and wiped that back a little bit just to stain that wood in a richer, darker brown tone, which I think just automatically made that look a little bit better. It's funny how sometimes it's the most simple things. And then once I had that done, I put the pages back underneath that little clip that comes on the corrugated tin with this dollar store item. And then I wanted to just dress that up a little bit, so I hot glued just a sprig of green I had in my stash. I know you can get these at the dollar store as well. They come in a pack of, I think, 12 long ones, and that was just a piece of one. And then I took one of the oranges that I had dried in the oven. I have a video on how to do that. I will link that in the description box if you want to know how to dry them. I added some of that ribbon and then just put that in a cute little display in the corner. I put some pine cones and some dried oranges and some cinnamon sticks in a basket. And it is a very simple, very traditional Christmas look, but for $1, that really just made that whole area look so nice. So let me know if you dress your Christmas tree in more traditional items like this, or if you prefer the glitter and the glass to the traditional old-fashioned Christmas. I haven't done my tree yet, but when I do, I am going to save a lot of the orange slices and pine cones for that as well. Now, the second thing, my little grandbaby doesn't have a stocking. So I printed off of Pinterest just a stocking pattern for free. Took out my daughter's old doll quilt that I still had, washed that. It had some marks on it, some ink had gotten on it, but I wanted to make a stocking out of this because it has a lot of meaning, sentimental meaning. So and it's double-sided. So I didn't bore you with how to do this. You know how to do this. I used a fabric glue and I just glued together the two pieces and added a piece of trim lace to the top so that Anya would have a stocking this year. And here it is in her nursery. And then here it is with the other stockings in my home. I'll try to remember to link that, the village on top of that as well, that I made out of a Trader Joe's bag, if you didn't see that. Now, the third thing I'm doing, I have this tree skirt I made years ago out of an antique quilt. It's double-sided. I love it. It's a green and cream gingham check, and I had put a eyelet trim all around it, but because my tree stand is always on top of it, I decided I wanted to cut it down the end, down the center, and add some of that lace ribbon with that same fabric glue in between the two pieces of quilt batting so that I could put it up on top of my tree stand, hiding the tree stand and having that just be easier to deal with than having it underneath my artificial tree. So I just went ahead and did that all the way down and absolutely love that. It looks so much nicer. I know the presents will be on top of it, but still, I just like the look of that. So that was just a simple, easy thing to do. I did run the glue stick all the way down both sides with that fabric glue, which works very well. And then I hide that part in the back of the tree anyways, but it's back there with the wires and just hides all the ugly tree stand. So that was a simple fix. That takes me on to the fourth one, which you have seen me do before, but I needed a few more of these gift card and money holders for my tree, and my sister liked them, so I wanted to make her a couple as well. So I took some toilet paper or paper towel rolls, cut them down, cut a little scoop out of the front, and then glued the flat end shut. Then I took some Annie Sloan white chalk paint and I went ahead and just painted that all over, inside out, bottom, and put some holes in the sides of that. Now I did give them 2 coats of the white paint, and then just decoupaged some pretty tissue papers, some napkins, whatever I had hanging around. It had free printables from the Graphics Fairy. Took some ribbons and I took some twine and I just put those on the edges, and then I stuffed them with some tissue paper, and then I will go ahead and add the gift items later on. And my sister liked these, so I thought I'd give her a few of those as well. But here they are finished. And they are just such a simple, easy thing to do for free. If you have a printer, you can use even regular old printer paper. You can use school glue. You don't need anything for this. Everybody's got toilet paper rolls. So this is a great way to just use up some trash, and it's a really cute gift item or a gift tag item. On to my final and favorite. In the past, you have seen me make angels out of spindles and bedposts. I will try to remember to post the videos in the description box for these. And today I am making a much smaller one. So you will need a small bedpost. I did have my husband cut off the ends for a different project in the future, but probably about a foot tall is fine. And then you will also need 2 spindles and a wooden heart from the dollar store. So you don't have to cut it in half. I just like the look of it better. So if you can, you could probably score it even with an X-Acto knife. Now, he drilled the holes for the arms. That's going to be the hardest part of this project. And that is pretty much what it's going to look like once you get it all together. And you could leave it simply like this if you like that look. I was going for something a bit more. So once I was able, I cleaned it up real good, and I took some of that Annie Sloan white chalked paint, and I gave the entire thing one good coat. Now, I like the distressed look, so one coat was sufficient for me because I knew that I was going to be sanding some of this to bring back that wood color. But if you want this to be plain white, then you will probably want it to have 2 coats of the paint to cover it fully. And you may also want a different color. I absolutely love that greenish colored one that I did out of the shutter and the bedpost that I showed just a minute ago. So that's up to you how much or how little you want to paint that and what color you want to make it. Now, once this is completely dry, I cannot spray it yet with a poly because it is very cold here. It's in the 30s here in New England. So once it's warm enough, if I get a good warm sunny day, I will spray this whole thing with 2 times Rust-Oleum. I like the matte finish, but any poly spray so that you can protect that chalked paint. And I just went ahead and painted those little arms as well. Now, before I finish this, if you have not already, make sure that you hit like and subscribe so that YouTube can continue to share my videos with others. Now, if you want a simple white angel, then here you go. That's all you have to do. Now, for me, I wanted more distressing, so I took it and sanded the high spots with a sanding block, And then with a little paper towel, I just wet that and wet distressed it a little just to bring out some of those areas that I prefer. Now this is where I think this is just going to kick this up a whole new notch. My daughter had said, oh, that would be so pretty if you put white feathers on the wings. So I don't have white feathers, nor do I know where I could get some. And I really like to keep this frugal, as I named my channel Farmhouse Frugally. So I want to show you how to do this stuff as free or as cheap as possible. So all I'm doing here was I took that white chalked paint and I mixed it with 50% or even maybe 60% baking soda, and you can use baking powder, baking soda, whatever you have hanging around. I happen to have baking soda, and I mixed it with the paint, and I made it definitely want to stir it well so you don't have any lumps of your baking soda, but you want that mixture nice and thick. Now, if you don't want to make this mixture and you have some spackling or mud, as we call it here in New England, to mud and tape your walls, you can certainly use that. And then the back of a plastic spoon works great. You can also use your finger. But basically all you're doing, as I am showing you here, is just putting it on with the back of your spoon and making it just an impression in it so that it has the look of individual feathers. I wasn't sure if this was going to work out. I've never seen anybody do this, but I just decided to give it a try and absolutely love, love, love the way that that came out. I think that is exactly the look that I was going for. So here it is with both. And then I wanted to take some, you could use gray paint or you could use antiquing wax. I used the antiquing wax with a fan brush and just hit the high places once that was fully dry and put a little halo out of pip berries on her head. And I am absolutely in love with this angel. Let me know what you think. And please let me know if you're going to try this. I'd love to see a picture over on my Instagram page. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.